Okay, so you're probably really curious as to why we just spent the last half an hour or whatever it took you measuring things to understand the difference between an index and a size. This is how we actually use that in anthropology. Here I've got a woman's skull and a pair of calipers. Okay, so what I would do is I would use the index of her facial morphology to understand exactly what shape this is. If it hasn't been beaten into your head yet, index means shape. It doesn't have anything to do with size. We don't care about the size. We care about the comparison of the width to the height. So, for example, if I measure the widest point of her nose from the inside, the nasal aperture, and I get 24.3 millimeters. Then I do nasospinale to the tip of the nasals here, and I get 20, let's see here, 30. Now, 24, I'm going to round. 24 is the width, 30 is the height. Now, if I did the calculations and figured out the size and came up with a number, an index number, let's say her index number was 80. Now we have different terms for this. In science, we call anything having to do with the nose, we call rhino. You probably know this from rhinoplasty and a rhino running around with the nose horn. The point is, we would call it a mesorrhine, meaning middle of the road, meso, middle, rhine, meaning she's got a middle-sized nose, an average-sized nose. If her nose was very, very tall and thin, we would call that a leptorrhine, meaning a tall, thin, prognathic nose. The last part of it would be if her nose was very wide and very short, sort of a flat, wide nose, we call that a platyrrhine. There are a lot of other aspects to this, like an ultraleptorrhine and things like that, which just go further than that. But we're doing all of that using the index. And you just learned how to do an index. So remember, an index has nothing to do with the size. It's got everything to do with shape. That's the key word there.